You're listening to Entrepreneur's Enigma, a podcast about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. Every week, your host Seth Goldstein interviews entrepreneurs from all walks of life about their entrepreneurial journeys. From store owners to Fortune 500 CEOs, we all have stories to tell. So sit back and join us for the next 20 or so minutes while we explore the entrepreneurial world.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneur's Enigma podcast. You know who I am by now, but I'm Seth, I'm your host. Today I have Anika Jackson on the show. She is a multifaceted marketer, I'm going to put it that way, because she does a lot. She does a lot. And as the time of her submitting her bio, she is teaching. Did you finish your MBA yet, or are you still almost done that? Or you're pursuing your MBA in Villanova. Yeah, she lives south of LA, so that's a long commute every day to school, isn't it? No, I'm joking. But Anika has her own podcast, which I was very lucky to be on, which is great. It's a great listen, and you need to listen to it. It's called Brand Amplified, and she even has it trademarked, which is like she's got the little R next to it, which is like really impressive. I haven't gotten around to doing Entrepreneurs Enigma because I don't want Entrepreneurs Magazine to come after me. And every lawyer I say is like, just be quiet. They haven't come after you in 3 years. They're not going to come after you. But if you ruffle their feathers, they might. So I'm like, all right, we're going to keep that quiet. No one steal my name. There you go. But so Anika is that. You teach at USC Annenberg school still, right?
Yep. Yeah. I teach grad school for the Digital Media Management program. And I also have a podcast at USC.
Oh, that's all. See, she's a little bit busy. But you're also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And you're very big on specializing in AI and machine learning and marketing, which is kind of where everything is right now. Everyone's like, how can I use this? Yep. And usually everyone's like, how can I use this well? But everyone's like, ends up using how can I use this badly? Because people use it the wrong way. They take it and they take it verbatim. They don't take it as an aid. And that's my biggest bugaboo, is that use it as a way to help your brain, not take over for your brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just hearing on the radio today about
the radio. You listen to the radio?
Radio, yeah. When I'm driving,
it still exists. It still exists.
I'll either listen to podcasts or I listen to NPR. Yeah. So because that gives me a little bit of a different point of view than listening to podcasts. But there was a discussion about how some AI tools are being really used for younger kids, and it's they get to create their kind of own avatar that they're speaking to in the likeness of.
It's kind of fun.
Or a real person, but several of them have not been classified and labeled appropriately because data is getting through suggestions for self-harm, for harming parents, or things like that are, in theory should not exist because they are supposed to be being labeled before the content gets to we as the consumers. So I think that's going to be something that comes up more and more as we get into the world of, AGI, agentic AI, and causal AI, where we have
even GEO, generative engine optimization, where it's like, I just read a blog post because this is interesting on Goldstein Media about that, how it's not SEO as much as it's GEO now, because it's like, how do you get that snippet? How do you get that reference? It's still SEO.
Yeah,
it's just they feel like, let's make a new term. Exactly. So how did this all get started? Like, who is Anika? Like, what's your what's the backstory? Have you always been an MBA grad student, or no? I mean, obviously not. But
well, when I was originally getting my master's, I was doing it in global health.
Wow.
This is several years ago, and then I went through a divorce, had to put that on the back burner. All that stuff. But I am multicultural. My mom is Thai and Laos, and I actually have dual citizenship with Thailand. She came to US, as many immigrants do, to go to university. She was supposed to go back, and education is really big in my family. So my dad was a college professor. My mom, my grandmother in Thailand, my kunyai, had a private school. My mom was supposed to come here, get education, and go back and run the school. And instead, she met my dad, got married. Now she lives in Thailand again. So that's a whole other
Oh,
story.
that's fun. You have a reason to go to Thailand.
Yeah, but they found their way from California to Kansas. My dad was pursuing a doctorate in Chinese philosophy, which he never finished. But I was born in Lawrence, Kansas, and
Kansas.
yeah, and
What's in Kansas?
We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
Sorry, all the Kansasians out there. Wichita?
No, Lawrence, the Jayhawks.
It's a college. Oh, it's a college town.
Yeah, it's a college town.
Okay, well, that's pretty much what Kansas has, fields or college towns, because it's very flat.
Yes. Yeah, until you get to the eastern part of the state, closer to Colorado. But
they have hills?
Yes.
Hey, I learned something every day. I always thought it was flat.
Yeah. No, they have hills, rolling hills. That's the part of the state that probably always wants to like secede and become part of Colorado. Yeah, all these other things.
But, every state has that. Like half the state doesn't like the other half of the state.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
California especially. Southern California, Middle California, and Northern California should literally be 3 states, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you and I, our conversations, we have so many podcasts within each conversation. I love having you on my podcast. So I really got my start. My family background is philanthropy, entrepreneurship, and education. And those are 3 things that really drive me to today. I really do believe that a lot is passed on in our genes, right? Generational knowledge and interests, engagement. I got my start in marketing because I was a bored high school student who would go to Kansas City every weekend with my fake ID that said I was 18 so I could go dancing.
Sure. Just dancing.
Oh, no, it's literally just dancing. Yeah. My friends and I were not interested in drinking. We just wanted to find a good place to go and dance and listen to good music, and wasn't finding that, where I was living at the time. And then one day a friend said, hey, this DJ wants you to start promoting for them and you'll get in free to all the shows. I was like, done. So that was really hard. And my career path has been really organic since then. And it's, gone through working for marketing agencies, for ad agencies, for magazine publishers when print magazines were a bigger thing.
We were making fun of on radio. How I remember what magazines are? Like,
I know.
I have one back here. I actually have a magazine.
Oh wow!
I actually get wired in the mail. And the reason why is I can't figure out how to cancel the print magazine because they make it really hard. I would pay for it, but I just don't need the print. I don't need the dead tray.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't figure that out. Maybe you can help me.
I don't know about that. They make it a lot harder nowadays. But back in the day, this is, late 90s, early 2000s.
Best time. Yeah.
So it was a really great time. And the magazines, though, were bridging that transition from print into digital. So I launched a music magazine. It came with a CD of new music every month.
Wow, we are hitting all the antiquated technology here.
Oh my God, yes.
Remember the CDs? Wow.
To find my street team promoters, I had to go into AOL music chat rooms because that was what existed, or Yahoo, right? At the time.
Yeah.
That was the internet.
Huge. And AIM, your away message. That's like everyone misses that now. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was how I found my street team. So it was that mix in between. And then the next magazine I launched was the official Xbox magazine when Xbox first came out. And the same thing, we had PC Gamer, we had PSM 100% Independent PlayStation magazine, Business 2.0. I worked on a whole bunch of different titles at that company.
Oh, that's fun.
And each of our video game magazines came with a demo CD that you could stick in your PlayStation or your Xbox and demo different games. And we
I love those demo CDs. I never buy the actual games, but I play the demos until it said buy the game. I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. And I forget and move on to the next game on the demo disc.
At PR, I had to fax press releases. I mean, yes, I am a dinosaur, but I was able to make the transition pretty easily and seamlessly into the world of
Yeah.
digital. And so it's
You're
really
a millennial.
interesting.
You're a millennial. You're a multifaceted
I'm not.
millennial.
I'm Gen X. I just turned 50. Yeah. Yeah. 4 days ago.
If you're watching the video, you do not look 50.
Well, thank you.
Good genes.
So it's
They
don't
gave you
feel-
the entrepreneurship, and they gave you the good genes. So God bless
Exactly.
you.
Yeah. So that's really what started my foundation. And then luckily, those skills are things I've been able to use no matter what business I've had.
Yeah.
I've had real estate investment, property management. I've had social clubs. I've had a retail store.
Oh wow, you've done a lot.
Yeah, and a number of other.
And you're only 50. You've done all this. I mean, that's impressive.
Had a PR firm, and now my world really is teaching, podcasting. I consult for some different companies, which I'm going to start integrating into the podcast for next year. I have a podcast curriculum that's coming out in June.
I love that. I love it. You are a badass. I love this.
Thank you. No, my mind, the ADHD in me and the
love
constant quest for knowledge and educating myself, and also wanting to help people be who they really are. And I feel like there are a lot of podcast curriculums and different things. Mine is actually...
It's needed. It's so needed right now because people go into podcasting and they're like, oh, I'm just going to record a show and put it up there. And they fade after 3 episodes. I mean, I'm starting to do podcast coaching to help avoid that with people because I'm like, have a plan. Yeah, start podcasting. Don't just sit there on your podcast shows. But like, have somewhat of a plan on how things are going to go. Have a strategy.
Well, we'll talk about that because mine is more about the upfront. I want people to set up their podcast as they would any business. What is your brand? What do you need to do to set up your business? Do you need to have trademarks? Do you already have a business this is part of, or is this a separate entity? How do you set up your business structure? How do you create the production?
Where was this 10 years ago for me? Seriously.
It's all the things that we do or that we're supposed to do in business. And, I think we've had this conversation, maybe we haven't, but when I started this specific podcast, Your Brand Amplified, I didn't realize it was a business until 3 years in.
It happens, yeah.
I'd had podcasts I did for other people that were definitely part of a business, but then this one I was like, oh yeah, this is a business, and now I monetize it. And my curriculum has been approved to teach at USC, so just figuring out what semester I can do that. But I want people to have a really strong foundation, to take it seriously, to understand how to grow their business from it, also how to monetize, how to engage with audiences, all the things that I think a lot of the other curriculums that I've seen out there don't do. They provide like little worksheets, right? Or they're really expensive programs. So I want mine to be for like the everyday person who knows they have a message. They're an entrepreneur, but they may not have,
I love this.
Tons and tons of money, because that's really what my purpose is. And that's what everything I do, it's about helping people live better, be better, live authentically.
I love that.
So,
I can't wait. I want to audit your class so bad. This sounds awesome. I mean, this sounds great. I mean, I've been podcasting for 10 years. I'm like, I think I know a thing or two, but I'm like,
yeah, you do.
You always learn more, but you always learn more stuff. Like, oh, this is a bit like you said, that really resonated with me. That it's like you were doing Your Brand Amplified for 3 years, and you're like, wait, pause. This is actually a business. Oops. That's the story of entrepreneurship, though. It's just kind of just doing and figuring it out along the way.
Well, and that interestingly takes us to some of my newest endeavors. One is I've been working with a former Zen monk. We met, and I realized, like, I teach branding the way that you're teaching self-mastery, because I really want people to understand who they are innately inside and make all of their external decisions based on that, because that's going to be a happier life, right?
I love that.
So he has this construct that he's created, and so we went through a rebrand. I took him through an exercise, and then
we took a monk through a rebrand. I love that. That's awesome.
Because he's really great at what he does, but he doesn't know marketing. He's a really amazing guy. And we just did another rebrand because we're doing a short little podcast series that is living on my stream, since I have a built-in audience on my RSS feed. But we went from, he was doing Zen Mastery and all these other names, to Zen activation program. And then we're like, this doesn't quite resonate with us still. So we just changed to Zen Power, which I was surprised was not taken.
Ooh.
So now it's a Zen Power podcast, Zen Power program. And we're in the midst of getting that up and running and launched. And we did this in real time. So the first episode of our little short podcast came out last week on my birthday. And we were still talking about activation, Zen activation. And I'm like, it's okay, because you don't have to be perfect. You just have to get it out. And it's
We're
also,
not NPR. I have
yes,
to keep telling people to call back to your NPR listening, but like, we're not NPR. We're
yeah,
podcasts. Podcasts can be a little rough around the edges. They're supposed to be charming and kind of you're listening at a bar at a conversation kind of thing.
yes,
Maybe
exactly.
with
Now,
less background noise, but yeah, that kind of thing. So
yeah, yeah. And NPR produces high quality podcasts, but the reality is
yeah,
most of us are not going to have those budgets. Most of us are not celebrities who are going to be,
most
sponsored.
of us aren't journalists either. So
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, I'm a former journalist, and I'm a rarity in this
yeah,
space. I mean, it does a podcast episode versus a buttoned up like this is NPR.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Come on, yeah,
yeah. And you
not
paid me like one of the biggest compliments of my life, if you remember.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours is very NPR. Like it was very good. I liked
Oh,
yours.
thanks. So, but yeah, so podcasting, Zen stuff, and then I have just because I needed more, but
Of course,
I
but
needed
there's more.
I'm paying for my MBA myself, so I needed a little extra income. So now I'm working in philanthropy for an educational foundation, but it perfectly aligns with everything else I'm doing. And
Isn't it funny how that works out? It's like one more thing, but oh, it kind of works.
yeah, it's the ICL Foundation. It's been around 20 years, but they started a school, an academy separate from it 4 years ago. That's now in the top 5 online private schools. It's for high performing kids
Yeah,
who really know what they're passionate about, but they need maybe some extra financing to help with their education, with their training to get to that big match in Europe.
yeah,
And also, we want them not to just be good in their chosen passion, whether it's sport or whatever, but we also want them to be really good people, right? So it's
I
not just
love
about being on
that.
the field, but it's also about getting a great education, going to university, and then also being a good civic leader and steward and understanding how to do
Yeah,
projects. So even though it's 20 years old, it's basically, I'm an entrepreneur for this too, because it's basically a startup. It
yeah.
hasn't been nurtured as much, right? Because we've been so focused on the school, but now that's doing really well. So it's like, all right, now we need to focus on the funding that we need to do these other programs, not just for the school, but to get out to kids everywhere. So
And in
it's,
addition to all this, you're also a mom.
oh yeah, yes. I'm also a single mom to
But
two
that is that too.
to two fur babies and then a 16-year-old
Oh,
daughter.
oh, you
Who,
said 2 kids. I thought I knew you had a 16-year-old daughter, which because it's helpful that she's 16, so you can do more things because they're a little bit more self-contained, a little bit.
well, yeah, she's very driven though, so there's a lot of focus on.
I
Um,
wonder where she gets that from.
she's known what she wants to do since she was 12. So there's a lot of focus on, like, we started the
Sounds
college
like her
during
mom.
last year. She's she just got her. I'm gonna brag. She just
Go.
is PSAT. She's a national merit semifinalist for her school. She got a
Nice.
higher, score than any of her friends, and they're all kind of the nerdy, smart kids that are very driven by their passions. This
Proud mama. Yeah.
very proud mama. She's going to do a summer program at Cambridge in England this summer. That was her dream school to make sure she really likes it. And then another one in British Columbia at UBC, which she loves. It's exhausting thinking about her schedule because she's also like,
She probably looks at your schedule and says, "Mom, yours is just as exhausting as mine."
my schedule's, yeah, that's very true. And her
You're
summer
saying her
though,
schedule is exhausting, and I'm like, have you looked at your schedule?
well, I'm thinking about like the summer. Like, she's going to be certified for paragliding. She's going to go river rafting in Canada, and then she's doing these 2 camp programs, or not, summer whatever
Enrichment, yeah.
programs. Yeah,
Enrichment, yeah.
to see if she really likes these universities. And I know she'd prefer more downtime, but her dad also is very go go go. So, um,
Oh, so
So we'll
she's
see.
completely screwed with the go-ness.
She really is. I am actually when we're together, we have more downtime, which because we need that in our schedules, right?
You need a chance to breathe. You
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I'm very fortunate that she has these opportunities, right?
That's awesome.
And she gets to take advantage of them. Um, my schedule has to work around a lot of that, which is
But you
fine
can.
because
But you can.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can. And I think I was listening to some of your episodes, right? And I
Oh,
love,
thank you.
of course. I don't know if I've left you a rating and review yet, but I will
Oh,
today.
thank you. Hey,
Because
everyone, click that subscribe button.
yes,
There you
I did that. But I love the fact that you have these conversations with people. They're all so different. You're getting different things out of them. There's a lot of a common thread of people. When you're an entrepreneur, you can't help but be an entrepreneur, no matter what
You
you're
can't
doing.
help it. Yeah.
If you're in an organization, you're going to be an entrepreneur, right? But
Mhm.
we just have this drive that it's just part of us, and we can't let it go, even when we try. Because I've
Absolutely.
tried going back and working as
I've tried too.
people
It
at
doesn't work.
agencies. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Doesn't work.
So
So, Anika, where can people find? Where do you hang out online besides the podcast feeds?
yeah, podcast feeds, LinkedIn. I've just been so burned out because of everything I'm doing from being on social.
Yeah.
Which is, I know, a big part of what we do, but luckily
Take a
somehow
break. Yeah.
I've been able to grow my audience without focusing on social. So
Bravo.
there's that, which everybody should realize, right? You don't need it for everything necessarily. People aren't going to look at
Mhm.
a post I do necessarily on Instagram and decide to go listen to the podcast. So I really hang out on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect with people.
Mhm.
I love having conversations like you and I need to start setting up. A lot of the people I have on my podcast, we end up setting up like monthly or quarterly meetings just to
Absolutely.
touch base, see like, what are you doing? What am I doing? Have you had
That's the
any
whole
success?
purpose
How
of
can
it's the
we?
whole purpose of my
Yeah,
podcast
exactly.
is to meet people and
It's
interact
amazing.
because we're stuck at home.
Right.
This is my socialization. If no one's checked it out, looked at this. This is
Yeah.
how I socialize with people. Be on my podcast.
Same.
I
But
love it.
it's fantastic. Yeah. So there, and then yourbrandamplified.com to
Yes.
get on my email list, which I don't send out emails very often. So you don't have to worry about being, overburdened with those, or listen to the podcast or just set up a call I'm
Yeah.
always happy to give people a 30-minute session just to any question they have, PR, branding,
Yeah.
marketing, digital, AI, podcasting, whatever it is. I'm happy to give my time. And
Love
I
it.
will not
Love it.
ask them to become a client at the end of it.
Unless they
I'm not.
want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody wants to, then that's great. But it's not the priority. The priority is just helping people see where they are and feel really good about where they're going.
Love it. Well, Anika, thank you so much for being on the program. I
Thank
love
you.
how 22 minutes goes by so
Oh my
fast.
gosh, seriously.
It flies by, but we'll see everyone next week. That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please consider giving us a review in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps us reach new listeners. If you like Entrepreneur's Enigma, consider the other shows on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net.
Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.